Picture this. You wake up, you don't own your name, you don't own your body, you don't even own the next 5 minutes of your life. That was Tuesday for roughly a third of Rome, not some far-off corner of the empire, Rome itself, the city with marble temples and endless bathhouses. Underneath all that beauty was a machine built on human beings who weren't considered human at all. This is the dark reality of being a Roman slave. Let's start with the number, because it's brutal. Historians estimate that by the height of the empire, 1 in 3 people in Italy was enslaved. In some cities, it was closer to half. Slaves weren't a fringe group. They were the empire. They built the roads. They cooked the food. They raised the children of the people who owned them. And legally, they weren't people at all. Roman law classified them as res, a thing, property, same category as a table or a mule. The philosopher Aristotle even called it a living tool. Rome ran with that idea and never let go. Here's where it gets darker. Roman slaves wore collars, actual metal collars, riveted shut, engraved with a message. One surviving example reads, "I have run away, catch me. If you bring me back, my master will reward you." A human being labeled like a lost dog. And punishment wasn't rare. It was routine. Roman law explicitly allowed masters to whip, brand, mutilate, and kill their slaves with almost no consequence. Testimony from a slave was only legally valid under torture, not despite torture. Because of it, Romans believed a slave would only tell the truth while in agony. Think about that, an entire legal system built on the assumption that pain equals honesty. Then there were the mines. Slaves sent to work silver and gold mines in Spain, like the ones at Rio Tinto, faced conditions historians now compare to a death sentence, chained underground. No daylight for months. Diodorus Siculus, a Greek historian who witnessed it firsthand, wrote that the workers had, in his words, no rest and no respite, and that many collapsed and died where they stood. Life expectancy in the worst mines is estimated at under 2 years. Not old age, not disease. 2 years and you were replaced. And here's the coldest detail of all. The Roman statesman Cato the Elder wrote an actual guidebook on running a farm. In it, he advised selling off old, sick, or worn-out slaves the exact same way you'd sell a broken plow or a dying ox. Not because it was cruel, because it was efficient. That's the part that should sit with you. This wasn't chaos, it wasn't random brutality, it was optimized. But it wasn't only physical labor. Slaves ran households, educated children, managed finances. Some, especially in the imperial household, the familia Caesaris, held real influence, even wealth. A slave could, technically, buy his own freedom through manumission, which sounds almost hopeful until you realize the system needed that hope to function. A slave who believed freedom was possible worked harder, rebelled less, waited quietly instead of fighting. Rome dangled the exit just far enough away to keep people walking toward it instead of burning the building down. Most never got there, and when the anger finally broke through, in 73 BC, it broke hard. A gladiator named Spartacus led an uprising of enslaved men and women that grew into an army of tens of thousands. For 2 years, they held off Roman legions. In the end, Rome crushed them. 6,000 survivors were crucified along the Appian Way, one cross every few dozen feet, stretching for over 100 miles. A warning left up to rot in the sun so every traveler entering Rome understood exactly what happened to people who wanted to be human. Rome called itself the height of civilization. Aqueducts, law, philosophy, art that still stops people in museums 2,000 years later. And none of it existed without a permanent, invisible layer of human beings who weren't allowed to exist as people at all. Maybe that's the real inheritance of empire. Every great civilization tells a story about its glory. Almost none of them tell you, unprompted, who built it, who suffered for it, and who it was built on top of. Rome never forgot they were there. It just made sure history would.